know, but I don't want you to be using that word again. I know that you're upset. We could offload you if you're going to keep saying those words. But you could.
I was telling you what was being said.
So apparently, Charlotte Chung, a voice actor of Diva from Overwatch, gets on a WestJet flight, right? She was sitting in seat 1A on a flight from Canada to LA after attending a business conference, minding her own business. And that's when the man behind her in seat 2A started pushing and hitting her seat. And this wasn't just some accidental bump, because the pushing went on for over 20 minutes. So naturally, Charlotte turns around to see what's going on, and guess what this guy says? "Oh, just chill. F*** off." Yeah, that's what he said. Charlotte, obviously shocked, asked him, "Excuse me, did you just tell me to f*** off?" And instead of owning up, the guy flat out denies it. This guy casually neglected any sense of reason and instead of explaining himself, decided to ruin someone's day. So at this point, Charlotte calls over a flight attendant named Trisha, thinking she'd step in and sort things out. But no. Instead of addressing the guy's behavior, Trisha immediately turns on Charlotte and asks, "Do we have a problem here? Do we need to open the gate?" Like, what? Charlotte tries to explain what happened, but Trisha just gets agitated and tells her to move seats. When Charlotte doesn't move right away, because why would she? I mean, it's her seat and she paid for that extra leg room for a reason. Trisha threatens to call the captain and have her removed from the plane. At this point, Charlotte feels like she has no choice. She moves, trying to avoid getting deplaned and risking missing her baby's birthday that same week. But this is just the beginning of what turns into a 4.5-hour nightmare for the voice actress.
You just told me to f off and now you're getting me to move? Am I getting moved right now?
So the captain is aware of what's going on right now.
Sure.
We have moved you over here. Thank you for moving.
Yeah.
That should solve everything. I didn't see what happened. I don't know, but I don't want you to be using that word again. I know that you're upset.
Could you please ask him not to use that word
Yes,
to me
I will
too?
speak with him. But
Thank you. I appreciate
as
that.
I see right now that you've been cursing, and I don't want anything to be a trouble here, okay?
Okay.
So he is aware of it,
Okay.
and we could offload you if you're going to keep saying those words.
Okay. Are you going to offer him the same situation?
Well, he seems to be compliant right now. I didn't hear anything.
As I am too, as I moved over here.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
thank you. And there's not going to be any more issues, right?
Is there? I don't think so. I hope not.
Because we can go back to the gate.
Okay.
Okay? You want to go to LA?
I do. I want to see my kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are a lot of problems in this clip, but first, why exactly is the flight attendant Trisha speaking to Charlotte like she's a 5-year-old kid? I mean, the tone of the conversation, the words coming out of her mouth, the repeated threats? Come on, this is ridiculous. But you'd think she'd extend the same demeanor to the other party involved in this issue, the man in 2A, right? Well, you and I are both wrong, because the complete opposite happened.
Excuse me?
Yeah, we just saw the same thing. The same Trisha who was hostile towards Charlotte just a minute ago is seen giggling and wiggling her legs like a happy school child talking to her bestie. Utmost professionalism, I must say. But it gets even worse for Charlotte from there on out. Trisha noticed Charlotte recording and confronted her. I'm going to read Charlotte's notes from this exact frame because it's honestly blowing my mind. "I stopped recording out of fear. This is when she aggressively said, 'Why are you filming? Why are you causing more problems?' To which I quietly answered that I'm not. She then blocks me from going to the restroom. I have to ask her several times to please let me go use the restroom." So what I'm getting here is that to Trisha, the man telling Charlotte to f off isn't causing any problems. But Charlotte recording the situation as evidence is? That's somehow the bigger issue.
So we've exchanged photos today. I've got mine for my report that I'm
Do
going to
you
be
have a
sending to
problem
you.
with me? Is everything
I
okay?
do. I do have a problem with
I
you
was
because you were
I was
being
the one being
irate.
cursed at, and I was
You were the one
reaching out.
cursing.
I was
were-
telling you what was
No,
being said to me.
I know, but you could
I was telling you what was being said to
tell
me. I was telling you what was being said to me. I was reaching out for help.
I know, but we could have handled this in a more civil situation.
How is it civil when I'm being cursed at? His own wife was looking at me like she was feeling bad.
I heard you cursing.
I was telling you what was being said to me, and I said, he's telling me to f off. I never said anything to him. He told me to f off. And I said,
that's exactly what you
yes,
were saying,
and I said to him,
do you really need to record
I
this
do,
right now?
I do,
Okay.
because I need evidence of this. This is ridiculous because I'm being blamed for something. He was kicking and pushing my chair. I looked back and said, oh, chill out, f off. And I said, excuse me, did you just tell me to f off?
Okay, you don't need to keep saying it. We have other people on the plane and they don't want to hear that
Why
foul
are you not
language.
telling him not to tell me to
He was
Is it illegal for me to repeat to you what
no, but it's illegal
I was
for you
told?
to be belligerent and unruly.
I'm being belligerent.
You were being an unruly passenger.
I was being an unruly
Yes, you
passenger. You then come over because you heard the off. He looks like, no, I didn't. I just told her to chill. So first of all, he lies. So of course I'm irate from that. Can you understand that? Because he's lying. I turn around and I say to him, you're lying. You told me to off. And then you then proceeded to offer me a seat. And I said, this is my seat. I paid for this seat. I'm okay. I'm okay. I want to sit here. And when I proceeded to not move over to this seat, I'm going to get you deboarded or offboarded. And why is it that I'm being blamed when he was kicking and pushing my chair? I looked back, honestly, not mad, just to see what was happening. And he told me to f off. I think your bias is showing. This is discriminatory because there's nothing I've done outside of, I was looking to you for help. He was being belligerent towards me, and I was reporting to you what was happening. I was telling you what he was saying to me. I never even cursed at him. I never cursed at you. I just told you what was happening. And because you were upset before you got onto the phone, I was like, okay, I will. So I moved over. I moved over to this seat. This is not my seat. That's my seat. I should be sitting there. You know that. But you moved me over, making me out to be the threat. Why are you being biased in a situation that you yourself said you were not a part of? You said that. You didn't hear anything, but for some reason you took their side. And after that, I asked you, right? I asked you, hey, are you going to talk to them about this too? Because why am I being threatened to be offboarded? And you said yes. Later on, you go and speak to them. They touch your arm. You guys are smiling. You're having some sort of friendly conversation, which is obviously not the same type of attitude you had towards me.
Happened. I asked his side of the story, and he said he was just trying to put something under the seat. Okay, so how about we just separate you guys? We all want to go to LA. We want to get to where we want to go peacefully. This whole road.
That's not the attitude you had.
Listen, it's a tall man. It's small seats.
And he cursed at me. And what you were supposed to do?
Maybe he did. Okay, maybe he did. But
why am I being moved? He lied to you.
I have just one question. Why is Trisha trying so hard to make excuses for this man? Why?
Do you understand that, Trisha?
Okay,
It's Trisha,
okay,
right?
Okay.
It's Trisha, right?
Maybe he did.
It's Trisha?
Maybe he did. Okay, maybe he did. Maybe
Can you tell me your name again? It's Trisha,
Yes,
right?
it's Trisha.
I'm Charlotte.
Now,
And you were supposed to speak to him.
I did speak to him.
You berated me, then you told me that
No,
I was going to
I
be the
spoke
one
to him.
offboarded, and then you moved me over.
Try to
I told
de-escalate
you I
the
didn't want to
situation.
move.
Then you could have gone off the plane. That's the
Why am
option.
I being
Because
moved? And then you started taking pictures of me because you were being
Because
threatened.
you're taking pictures of them.
I
You know
have
my
to.
privacy. And
This is not an invasion of
you're
privacy.
doing it right now.
Yeah.
Hello?
Wow, okay, that's fine.
So, thus far, Trisha has moved from guilt-tripping Charlotte to threatening her and making several excuses for the man who began this whole fiasco in the first place. But apparently, Trisha wasn't done. She's actually planning on getting Charlotte arrested as soon as the plane lands in LA.
If it does continue, we will have police in the airport and there will be further consequences. Just the verbal abuse that's turned into and then the recording. So that's just not okay. Do you have any questions that I can answer for you at the moment?
the captain's name?
What's the John.
John?
Oh, really? You want me and every other passenger on the plane to believe you do not know the name of your captain? And why is the crew laughing? What's funny in all of this? Now, lest I forget, when all of this began, Charlotte reached out to her husband to let him know the situation she was in right now. Okay, back to the cabin. Just before the plane lands, as if torture and threats weren't enough, the man in 2A decides the best place to sit while waiting to use the same restroom Charlotte was denied access to was right beside Charlotte. The plane eventually landed in LA, and it's time for baggage claims. And just look at his face. It's screaming the, "Oh, I told you not to mess with me." I've got to say, I kind of feel sorry for his wife for having to endure this embarrassing behavior, and I think her expression agrees. So, of course, Charlotte posted this story on TikTok and it went mega viral, which is expected. I mean, every part of this incident screams a possible racial undertone, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. But apparently, some users, especially on TikTok, have also experienced the same treatment on WestJet flights from the same flight attendant, Trisha. Same story, and of course, the same victim, people of color. I'm going to play these messages one by one, and if you want to read them, just hit the pause button. Now, this is where TikTok investigators came in, because this man, his wife, even the attendant Trisha, have been found and identified thanks to this TikTok user.
Hey, Rene Bourgoin, this is you, right? Do you know what I find odd, Rene? Is that you were self-made in tech, or so I hear. I mean, even on your own page here on the long-form app, you posted a video of what seems to be a pretty large house. I mean, you remember the video that you posted online publicly because you wanted to show off your new drone. And based off of all of these expensive hobbies that you have, you know, like all of these classic cars, I'm going to assume that you could have afforded to spend the extra $100 or $20 or so to sit in the first row to get that extra legroom, but you chose not to and decided to take your frustration out instead on someone who did choose to spend their money on that extra legroom. But you want to know how I find out who you are, Rene? After watching this video, multiple people who have confirmed that they know Rene have reached out to either let me know that he's allegedly racist or allegedly abusive. Also, that's what we call pattern of behavior. So yeah, Rene Bourgoin. It's always the ones with the names that stick out the most too. Hey Trisha Stundon, this is you, right? I know it's a little bit hard to tell because clearly this photo was taken at least 10 to 15 years ago. Thank God for facial recognition, not that it was needed because clearly this is the same smile and the same lack of an upper lip. Oh, also, sorry Trisha, I hope this video doesn't impede on your looking for work. Also, I know someone recognizes this man. Let me know.
So yeah, in the middle of all of this, it's honestly even sadder that WestJet hasn't done a thing about the situation. When the news first went viral, did WestJet think to reach out to Charlotte, their actual customer? Nope! Not until she hired an attorney who had to contact the airline to get the ball rolling, of course. At first, their team responded, but then they suddenly went silent, tossing out excuses like, the person responsible for this is on vacation, on a remote island. Seriously? That's the story we're running with? A remote island? What's even worse is how they handled the backlash on social media. Instead of addressing the incident, WestJet started deleting comments and turning them off completely. If you're being called out for mistreating a passenger, maybe don't make it worse by doubling down and trying to silence the people holding you accountable. Charlotte wasn't asking for much either. All she wanted was an apology, sensitivity training for the crew, and compensation she could donate to a nonprofit supporting Asian American and Canadian civil rights. But WestJet? They haven't delivered on any of it. When they did finally reach out, here's what they had to say. Update. After all of this time, WestJet finally reached out to me. No responsibility was taken. They refused to right this wrong. Instead, it appears the information I shared was not enough to warrant an apology. They also would not comment on anything regarding Trisha and made it a point to mention that this has had a significant impact on, quote, all involved. They asked me to contact their social care team to speak to someone, to make me further prove anything when I have already provided footage, a full written statement, and an oral testimony is adding insult to injury. Makes me feel like they're trying to find something to pin on me instead, as if trying to heal from this traumatizing experience isn't hard enough. I am at a loss for words. Unfortunately, that's all there is to the WestJet story for now. Charlotte is still pushing for justice, which is why I felt it was my duty to raise awareness by any means I can and decided to piece this video together. Hopefully the story continues to unfold and we get to witness some well-deserved karma being served. And of course, I'll be back with a follow-up video when that happens. Big shout out to this wonderful TikTok creator for identifying Renee and Trisha. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye for now.